Key point number 1 focuses on creating a hook with urgency and hope, and this is where the true power of an introduction lies. When speaking about a topic as critical as fatty liver disease, the first moments are not simply about presenting facts, but about capturing attention, stirring emotions, and opening the door to possibility. Fatty liver disease is often underestimated, with many people dismissing it as something minor compared to other illnesses. Yet the reality is that it has grown into one of the fastest rising health crises of our time. Millions of people across the globe are living with this condition, often without even knowing it, because its symptoms creep in quietly and disguise themselves until the damage becomes difficult to reverse. The audience needs to feel this urgency immediately, not in a way that terrifies them, but in a way that makes them lean in and realize the scale of the problem. However, urgency alone can easily overwhelm, and this is where the balance of hope comes in. The most effective introductions don't simply sound alarms, they present a spark of light at the very moment the challenge seems darkest. That spark of light is what keeps people listening. When a speaker begins by painting the reality of the crisis, how fatty liver disease silently affects energy levels, increases risks of heart failure, or leads to cirrhosis, the listener begins to feel the weight of the problem. But almost instantly, that heaviness must be lifted with the promise that something different, something revolutionary, is on the horizon. Without this combination, either the audience sinks into despair or they fail to see why they should care at all. This interplay between urgency and hope is what makes an introduction compelling. People do not act when they feel only fear, and they do not listen when they feel only comfort. They act when they see the danger clearly and then are offered a reason to believe they can overcome it. In the case of fatty liver recovery, the hook comes not just from the staggering growth of the disease, but from the groundbreaking possibility of recovery in 3 days. That promise immediately challenges long-held assumptions about how healing works and signals that the audience is about to hear something they have never heard before. It triggers curiosity, it creates anticipation, and it inspires the question that makes every listener lean forward. How can this be possible? This is the heart of key point 1, drawing people in with urgency that awakens their attention, then igniting hope that keeps them engaged. The dual forces of reality and possibility combine to prepare the audience for a message that is not just informative, but transformative. Key point number 2 is about building an emotional connection, and this is where the speaker bridges science with the human experience. Facts and statistics about fatty liver disease are important, but what truly moves people is when they see themselves, their loved ones, or their community reflected in the message. Fatty liver is often described as a silent disease, creeping in without obvious symptoms, and that silence is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Millions of individuals wake up every day unaware that their liver is struggling, and by the time they discover it, they may already be facing serious complications. This silent nature makes the disease feel invisible, and when something feels invisible, it can be easy for people to ignore. That is why emotional connection is critical. It transforms an abstract problem into something personal, something that feels close to home. When a speaker connects emotionally, they bring to life the father who feels too tired to play with his children, the mother who struggles to keep her energy while balancing work and family, or the young adult who thinks they are healthy until a routine checkup delivers an alarming result. These are not just stories, they are reflections of what millions are living through quietly, often with shame or fear. By presenting these relatable realities, the speaker allows the audience to feel not just awareness, but empathy, and empathy is what creates a lasting impact. When a listener sees the face behind the statistic, when they hear the heartbeat behind the science, they begin to understand that this issue could affect anyone, even themselves. This emotional bridge is also about breaking down stigma. Many people who are diagnosed with fatty liver believe it is solely the result of poor lifestyle choices, leading to guilt or self-blame. But the truth is that genetics, environment, and other factors play a role, and no one deserves to feel that they are beyond help. By sharing this perspective in a compassionate way, the speaker not only informs but reassures, helping the audience feel seen and understood rather than judged. That reassurance is essential because when people feel understood, they are more open to hearing solutions. The power of emotional connection lies in its ability to make the audience feel like this message is not just another health talk, but a story about their lives, their families, and their futures. It transforms a medical breakthrough from being a distant headline into something deeply personal. Once the audience feels that this is about them, their curiosity and their hope begin to rise, preparing them to embrace the breakthrough with both heart and mind. Key point number 3 is about reframing perspective, shifting the audience from fear to hope by showing them a new way of seeing what once felt impossible. Fatty liver disease has long been associated with a heavy sense of inevitability, where patients and families brace themselves for a long, drawn-out recovery, if recovery even feels possible at all. Most people imagine months of strict dietary changes, long lists of restrictions, endless follow-ups, and uncertain progress. This traditional view creates a mindset where healing feels like a burden rather than a journey of renewal. Reframing perspective means taking that expectation of hardship and replacing it with a sense of possibility, a reminder that science and innovation are not limited by yesterday's rules. When people hear that recovery can begin not in months, but in just 3 days, their entire outlook begins to shift. It challenges the ingrained belief that health is always slow to restore, and it awakens the idea that the body is more resilient and capable of transformation than many realize. This is not about dismissing the seriousness of the disease, but about reintroducing hope into a space that is often filled with worry. By reframing the perspective, the speaker shows the audience that fatty liver is not just a story of decline, but also a story of renewal, and that renewal can begin far sooner than anyone imagined. This shift is powerful because it moves the audience emotionally as well as mentally. Fear tells people they are trapped, while hope tells them they can move forward. When individuals who have carried the weight of a diagnosis for years suddenly hear that progress can be made in days, it does not just inform them, it liberates them from the narrative that healing must be slow, painful, and uncertain. That sense of liberation is what allows the audience to truly listen and believe in what is being presented. It reframes not only how they view the disease, but also how they view their own ability to take control of their health. Reframing also creates a ripple effect beyond the individual. Families, communities, and even healthcare systems are often shaped by long-held beliefs about how illness must be managed. By introducing a new narrative, one rooted in rapid progress and achievable results, the speaker challenges everyone to reconsider what is possible. The audience is invited to imagine not just an individual recovering, but an entire movement toward faster, stronger, more effective solutions in healthcare. This is where the true power of perspective lies, transforming despair into determination, fear into faith, and limitations into possibilities. Key point number 4 centers on inspiring curiosity, which is one of the most powerful tools a speaker can use to keep an audience engaged. When people hear something that disrupts what they believe to be true, their natural response is to lean in, to want to know more, to uncover the story behind the claim. Fatty liver recovery has always been seen as a lengthy and difficult process, so when the idea of progress in just 3 days is introduced, it does more than surprise. It ignites a deep desire to understand how such a transformation is possible. This is where curiosity becomes a bridge between information and belief. People may begin skeptical, but their curiosity pushes them to stay open, to wait for the explanation, and to hope that the claim is real. The speaker's role in inspiring curiosity is not to give everything away at once, but to create a sense of anticipation, a feeling that the audience is about to hear something revolutionary. By carefully layering the message, first acknowledging the seriousness of fatty liver, then revealing the speed of the breakthrough. The speaker stirs questions in the minds of listeners. How could science achieve this? What methods make it possible? What does this mean for someone like me or someone I care about? These questions are exactly what keep the audience fully engaged. Instead of passively listening, they become active participants in the discovery. Curiosity also plays an emotional role. When someone hears a possibility that defies expectation, they experience a spark of hope mixed with wonder. It is not only about understanding the mechanics of the breakthrough, but also about feeling the excitement of a new beginning. The audience's imagination is activated. They start to picture a life with restored energy, fewer medical worries, and the freedom to live more fully. That act of imagining is essential because it creates personal investment. Curiosity is no longer just about facts. It is about what those facts could mean for their lives. At the same time, inspiring curiosity allows the speaker to build credibility. By presenting something extraordinary and then gradually leading the audience toward understanding, the speaker positions themselves as a guide, someone who will answer the questions that matter most. This balance of mystery and revelation creates trust. The audience feels reassured that their curiosity will not be left hanging but satisfied with knowledge that is both practical and inspiring. Ultimately, curiosity transforms the message from a simple announcement into a journey. Instead of hearing just another medical report, the audience feels like they are uncovering a secret, being let in on something groundbreaking, something that will change the way they think about recovery forever. Key point number 5 is about creating a call to attention, positioning the moment as historic and inviting the audience to recognize the magnitude of what they are about to witness. In any powerful speech, there comes a moment when the speaker must lift the energy of the room, when the words shift from information to inspiration, and when listeners realize that they are part of something far greater than themselves. Fatty liver disease has been a growing global concern for decades, and progress in treating it has often been slow, fragmented, and uncertain. To suddenly introduce a breakthrough that sparks recovery in just 3 days is not merely a scientific advancement. It is a turning point in the story of healthcare. By calling the audience to attention, the speaker ensures that no one hears this as just another headline. They feel the weight of history in the making. This call is not about demanding focus through authority, but about awakening the audience's sense of purpose. People respond deeply when they feel that they are witnesses to something rare, something that will be remembered long after the moment passes. When the speaker asks them to imagine millions of lives changed, families given new hope, and futures rewritten in a matter of days, the audience begins to sense that they are part of a collective awakening. This shared experience bonds everyone in the room, transforming listeners into believers and believers into advocates. A call to attention also elevates the tone of the speech, shifting it from an introduction into a moment of unity. It is as if the speaker is saying, "Pause, breathe, look around you, you are here for this." That sense of presence is powerful because it pulls people out of their daily distractions and places them firmly in the moment. It tells them that what they are about to hear is not just another piece of medical news, but a breakthrough that may define the future of health. This positioning creates urgency, but not the urgency of fear. It is the urgency of opportunity, of seizing the chance to be part of something extraordinary. When the speaker frames the moment as historic, they invite the audience not only to listen, but to remember. Years from now, those who heard the message will recall where they were when they first discovered that fatty liver recovery could begin in 3 days. That memory becomes part of their story, and their story becomes part of a larger movement toward healing and innovation. This is the essence of a call to attention, making the audience feel that the moment unfolding before them is one that truly matters, one that deserves their full heart, mind, and spirit.